He lifted the girl's body and placed it into a storage pod. Even though his mouth watered at the smell, he didn't dare take a single bite, because in this orphanage, the children were high-class goods, raised for the rich, and he was just a low-level worker. No child here ever lived past the age of 12, and those who didn't pass the intelligence tests were removed early, labeled as defective. To the kids, this was called being adopted. They thought someone out there genuinely wanted to give them a home, but in truth, they were just desserts on someone's dinner table. Before arriving at the orphanage, every child had a number printed on their neck, like livestock, waiting to be selected. But the kids didn't know any of this. To the demons, the smarter the child, the better the quality of the product. That's why the orphanage held regular intelligence exams. Fail to meet the standard, and you'd be shipped out early. But this time, 3 children stood out like never before: Norman and Emma. They scored perfect marks every time. Norman and Ray were natural geniuses, while Emma had extraordinary reflexes and learning ability. Even so, they were no match for the woman running the place. The seemingly kind and gentle, no matter how hard they tried, they never once beat her at chess. She always warned them, never go past the fence, saying there were dangerous beasts outside. But Ray knew better. How could a fence barely half a meter tall keep anything out? Meanwhile, another girl noticed something odd. None of the adopted kids ever wrote back, even though they had been like family. So no one thought much of it. Maybe the outside world was so wonderful, they simply forgot the orphanage. Then one day, a new adoption was arranged. A 6-year-old girl who had failed the test. Keeping her would waste resources, so it was time to send her off early. Everything was going to plan, until Emma noticed she forgot her stuffed bunny. She and Norman rushed to the gate to return it. Even knowing they'd be punished, they searched but couldn't find the girl, so they decided to leave the bunny in the cargo crate. But what they saw next would haunt them forever. The girl who had just said goodbye to them was now lifeless in a container. Then they heard voices, and quickly hid under the transport truck. Emma peeked through the shadows, and saw something horrifying. The client was a bit disappointed with the current shipment until he saw the test records. Norman and Emma, all 3 had consistently scored perfect marks, and now they were about to turn 12, their prime age. So he told the caretaker to start preparing those 3 for shipment. Then he noticed something strange under the vehicle, but it was just the girl's bunny. Meanwhile, Norman and Emma fled back toward the gate. Emma was in shock. She refused to believe they were just livestock. But Norman knew nothing could be more real than what they had seen. If they didn't act fast, everyone in the orphanage was doomed. Back at the house, Norman immediately began thinking of a way to escape. He believed with Emma and Ray's help, they might have a chance. But what they didn't realize, they had left the bunny behind.